Fáilte go léir, Tá lucáir an túsachar leis an mionsra nua crocagaine ag dul in ruúint foiinemh. As seo go ceann 5 seachtaine be mí de caint le 5 ambassadóí ó thunscadal crocagaine le ESB Networks. Bheadh tiag oscailte fiúlagain chun tuiscinteáil ar an slí a bhfuil na ambassadóí ag iarrúnaí don teicnoliaachta inbhunaithe sa gnáthhéal, agus álamach céim cóirle atá chud gaoine atá ag tosnú amach ar just foiinemh in Anúte. Hi everyone, I'm Deirdre from the Dingle Hub and I'm delighted to kick off our mini-series Dingle Adapts Energy. Over the next 5 weeks, we'll be having a chat to the 5 ESB Networks Dingle Project ambassadors to find out about their experiences using the technology in their homes and businesses, and to get insights into how they are adapting to the technologies in real life and what they have learned so far in the journey. We'll conclude the series with an interactive session on June 29th, where you'll have a chance to speak to ambassadors and expert panel members and address questions to them. So make sure you make a note of all the questions you have as we go. You can send them on to us in advance when you register for the Q&A session, and links will be available on the Dingle Hub website, and we will send them out on our social media channels as well. It's really important to say that all of this is only made possible thanks to funding from the Science Foundation Ireland Discover programme, and we're very, very grateful for their support. So now on to our first guest for this series, who is Carol Leahy from Balivahi. So Carol is a part-time teacher, mum to 6 girls, and married to Sean. As part of the project, Carol has undergone a full retrofit and had an air source heat pump, solar PVs, an energy monitoring system, and EV and smart EV charger installed in her property. I've just learned that her battery management system has been installed today, and her key motivation in applying for the Dingle Project Ambassador role was reduction of bills and making a positive contribution to carbon reduction to leave a healthy planet for her children and grandchildren. You're very, very welcome, Carol, and thanks for joining us here. I wonder, would you start by telling us in your own words why you got involved and describe maybe the day-to-day changes you're now experiencing in your life?
Well, Deirdre, thank you very much for having me. It must have been about 2 years ago I heard of the project, and I thought actually I was too late to put in for it. But lo and behold, last minute, and next thing I heard, yes, we had gotten in. And I was delighted. Now, I knew little or nothing about all that was to happen, but I was excited about it. And I have seen big changes in the house over the last 2 years, and happy to say that things are really looking well now, and we are so happy with everything.
That's brilliant. Maybe you could tell us maybe some of the biggest benefits that making these changes have happened for you and the family.
Well, you can see there in the first picture that the first thing that happened was we had PV panels installed on the roof. Now, the time of year they were installed was kind of, coming into the winter, so we didn't see any real benefit from it. Plus, we had to move out for a while, and then there was problems with the roof, so the PV panels came off. But happy to say they're back on for a while, and we can see the rate of incoming energy clocking up on the panel in the utility room. After the PV panels, then the retrofit began. So the house was pretty much gutted, right back in places, as you can see there in that picture, Deirdre. There was 20 plus years of clutter had to be moved in the house before that could all start. Now that was difficult, but it was great in that it was overdue and it really needed to be done.
Of course.
Then from the gutting we went on, and the inner wall insulation was fitted. You can see already the big changes there, and we could feel the changes pretty much immediately in the house. Things were so much cozier and comfier. The air to heat source pump then was installed, and then it was a different house. It was cozy, it was constantly warm, we constantly had hot water. The girls weren't complaining anymore, we weren't giving out about the immersion being left on. you know, we could see immediate benefits from all these things as we went along. There was an outer wall insulation. You can see it there in the picture as well. The whole house was insulated on the outside. And after that came the electric car. There was a charger installed on the wall. Very discreet. You can't even see it from the front of the house, and it makes life very easy. We just pull up there to the corner of the house, put it on charge, walk away. It's very easy. Love my electric car, love the savings I'm making. After that, then today, only today, we had a storage battery installed, which I'm quite excited about. Need to learn a lot yet, but yes, I'm dying to see how this is going to work. It's going to harness the power we're wasting from the PV panels during the day. And also, we have switched to a day-night rate of electricity. So I'm really keen to see how it'll work, how I can charge it by night with a cheaper rate of electricity and use it up during the day and save lots more money on my bills, Deirdre.
Yeah, you have the full suite there. It is absolutely, absolutely fantastic. I love the thought of the constant hot water. That's definitely something that I'd be really interested in. But for today's discussion, we're going to maybe focus in on the electric vehicle. And I know these are something that have been really visible on the peninsula for the past few months. And I know it's something that people would love to hear a little bit more about. So we're going to hear about how it's working for you. And maybe you could start by saying what the experience of driving an EV has been like for you.
Well, it's probably one of the most comfortable cars I've ever driven. It's one of the smoothest cars. I was very apprehensive initially because people spoke constantly about the range of it and not being able to go far and so on and so forth. But I can't find fault with my daily driving, is no problem. I've been to Galway, I've been to Carlow, I've been to Cork. In actual fact, last week one morning I left here at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to Cork. I reached the city. I drove back out then during the day to Balivahi, and then I went back into Wilton. I came back out then to another part of the city, and I came home in the evening, reached home at 7 o'clock, and I still had 100+ kilometers left on the car. Now, I feel that you can't really expect an awful lot more from your electric vehicle. I've been to Galway. Sorry, Deirdre, I've been to Galway. It's a journey I wouldn't normally do up and down in one day, but it just happens that I did on this particular occasion. So I reached Galway with surplus, and I knew I had plenty to come back to Shannon. So I came back down to Shannon on my way home, and I charged there for over half an hour and all the way back home. I mean, no matter if you're going to go on a journey like that, you're going to stop and you're going to maybe grab a sandwich or, you know, whatever. And your 20 minutes, half an hour that you're going to spend inside doing whatever. I mean, that's the charging time. So to me, it's not an inconvenience in any way.
And what about planning your route and finding out where the chargers are on the route? What's been your experience of that?
It's all pretty straightforward. I mean, we have the ESB app on the phone, so that gives you all the chargers. You look them up. They tell you whether that particular charger is available or not available. If you look it up in time, you can see what actual time the car on the charger has been put on at. So you know that if it's anywhere towards 25, 30 minutes, it has to come off by, say, the 40, 45 minute mark, or else it's going to be fined for an overstay. Oh. So you can judge it. It's all very judgeable in that. I was coming to Portlaoise the last day, and my daughter told me that there was a car on the charger that I wanted. And I said to her, how long has it been there? And she said, 25 minutes. I said, that's perfect. I said, we're going to make it so long as nobody else is in queue for it.
Fantastic.
I find, you know, I thought initially it was going to be a big deal having to plan this, that, and the other. But I don't. Once I have it fully charged, getting into that car in the morning, going on a long journey, it's all handed to you on a plate. I mean, you can look it up in your sat nav where all the chargers are. You can look it up on the internet. You can look it up on your app. It's all very straightforward. Now, the one thing I would say, Deirdre, like for example, one of the main stations on the M7 going up, you would imagine there'd be a lot of chargers on it, but there's actually only one charger on it. So I do foresee problems eventually as they become more, more electric vehicles on the road. I would like to think that they will install more and more chargers.
Yeah, that the plan is in place in parallel. As more people are purchasing these EVs, the charging infrastructure will become more widely available, or more of them, and that is what has to happen, I suppose, if we're to reach the target of 1 million electric vehicles on the road by 2030. But I know there are a lot of plans underway for upgrading the EV charging infrastructure. But that's really good to hear, because I'm driving one myself, but I haven't put it to the test yet. As you said yourself, it's very, very easy for local driving. I've only been to Tralee and Killarney really since the restrictions have lifted. But once you have a charger at home and you go out with a full charge, there is no issue really here. And the Kona, of course, has a range of over 400 kilometers. I know we've a bit of debate going on, because a full charge for some people can be 460 and a full charge for others is 430, and we can't figure out why. And we all think our driving, is down to the most efficient it can be. It's almost a little competition.
Well, I've been watching mine, and mine started out at just about 430, and I'm getting it all down to a fine art now. My range has gone up to 460 plus kilometers. Now, I also forgot to tell you that trip to Cork the last day, when I recharged, the full cost of the whole day from 6 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock in the evening was just under €5.
Fantastic.
Yeah, all my trips. I'm saving an awful lot of money fuel-wise with my electric.
Was that on the night rate, Carol?
I had terrible difficulty changing over to the night rate because of COVID. I seemed to just run into obstacle after obstacle. But again, with the help of the ESB, we finally got there, and I'm on the night rate now. And it has brought down the price of the charge to almost a third, because I shopped around and I got a provider which offered me 41% off for the first year. So that was a big decrease as it was from what I was paying. And then I went on the night rate, and that actually nearly halved the unit price again.
Yeah.
Now, I knew none of this, Deirdre. I was really green about the whole thing. I knew none of it until, I suppose, it was landed in my lap, and I had to figure it out, and I had to get it done. But, it has paid off. It has really paid off.
It certainly has. I mean, it's very difficult. It's going to be impossible. I don't think any of us can ever go back to the petrol pumps again, because, you see, the running costs of the EV are so little off. And I've even discovered lately that, the sun is shining here some days in May. I can charge up off my solar panels, and you'll find that now when you have a management system, battery management system, and you've access on your app, you'll see when the sun is shining, you're going to get that car plugged in.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to all of that, Deirdre.
Brilliant. Are many of your family, friends, and neighbours taking an interest in the stuff that you're doing?
You wouldn't believe the amount of people, even people on the street, come over to me when I'm in the car and ask me about it. And then they'll almost lodge their complaint with me about it, as though I could be the one, to sort it all out. But unfortunately, I'm not. I've had everything from, would you not get onto the tourist board and the hotels to put in chargers so to accommodate the tourists and so on? And I said, yeah, that's a great idea, Well,
you know what I'm doing now with restrictions lifting? I'm hoping to get a weekend away in July. And the first thing I thought of was, I want to know that there's charging facilities where I'm going. So yeah. I've been ringing hotels to ask them, and then I think the more that we ring, the more that it'll, be on their radar, the charging facilities we needed.
And I'm not sure if you've noticed, but one of our local hotels in Dingle has installed chargers.
Well, I've certainly seen the queries come in, and I'm really happy to see that our hospitality sector is really getting on board with this and sees the need for it. And they're getting queries from their clients as well.
Yeah, well, it's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, and it all adds to it, you know, the excitement of it and the advancement of the whole thing.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. The transport and the electric vehicles have been very, very visible. But everything you mentioned at the start, it's the whole package. I suppose it is a peep into what the future is going to look like for all of us. So to, I suppose, maybe finish up, maybe you could share your #1 tip for creating a more sustainable home for people watching.
Well, I've watched the savings made with everything to date, Deirdre. You know, it's kind of been up and down. The fact that it's all electricity now, obviously our bill went up. But I have been balancing it, you know, what we used to pay in solid fuel for stove, and that was part of our heating system as well. And then we had the oil stove as well. That's all gone. So we knew like that there would have to be an increase in our ESB bills. But what I can honestly say from the bottom of my heart, everything has been brilliant. But what has made the biggest change to our pocket is actually the electric car. Without a doubt, I am saving, just in diesel bills alone, I'm saving anything up to €70 a week.
Yeah, same here. It's a huge saving. When you do factor in the replacement of fossil fuels for heating and for transport, you know, it's minuscule what you're replacing on your electricity bill with it, certainly.
But yes, the electric car, without a doubt, just savings are amazing. Now, I do understand they're much dearer to start with, so on and so forth. But I think the government are going to have to find a way around that. They're going to have to offer bigger incentives to people and encourage people, you know, to spend a little bit extra and maybe subsidise or grant aid or whatever the purchase of the EV cars to make it easier, you know, for the ordinary person to have their EV car. Because I'd love to even, you know, to give this one back at the end of the year, I would love to have an electric car. But again, yeah, it's all, you know, cost.
That's the dilemma that's facing us all now, is that there's no going back. There just isn't.
Yeah, we might have to talk to the ESB networks about that one, Deirdre.
Put a call out there. Listen, thank you so much, Carol, for sharing all your valuable insights today. And thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. We'd love to have you join our next chat next Thursday at 1 p.m. again, when we'll be chatting with Colm Kennedy. You can register for the Dingle Adapts Energy interactive session via our website on dinglehub.com, and the link will also be shared on our social media platforms. And we'll be delighted if you can join us there. And it's a great first step to finding your own way and contributing to a more sustainable future. So, míle buchas as bheith linn inmh agus míle buchas de Carol as a léargas sárlú for a reintlin. Gur mágad Carol. Bhrálinn más féidir le bheith linn an déirdaoin secuin ag a héana clog be mí ag caint le Colm Kennedy an son. Gur míle maithagah, slán go léir.
Slán.